Thanks everyone for giving us the opportunity to spend a few minutes talking about cross-platform. I have, of course, with me the Managing Director of Implementation and Marketplace Insights at GroupM, Lyle Schwartz. He's a bit of an industry legend. Most of you will know him and know what he has achieved over many years, and also know that interviewing him on stage is never an easy task because you never quite know what Lyle's going to say. So what we want to do is just cover cross-platform. I think, you know, everyone in this room has been talking about cross-platform advertising and cross-platform audience measurement for many, many years. And candidly, not much has happened until this year. And I think sitting on my left is one of the gentlemen who's really driven things forward in the last couple of weeks and in fact months through this upfront. So let me start, Lyle, by asking you, what's happening in this year's upfront? Anything different from previous years?
Well, the upfront is always fun, especially for me, where I get to sit back and watch the negotiators work hard to try to make the numbers. Every year is different because every year is unique. This year is unique. The economy is not doing so well. There's a lot of stuff going on, especially the fact that we're now starting to integrate beyond the TV set. That we'll talk about the full episode player, video on tablets, video everywhere, can now start to be brought into the mix from a negotiation standpoint.
All right, so cross-platform is one of the big themes, no surprise. What does cross-platform mean to you guys?
Well, it's funny because we were talking that, people talk about the TV set and the platform, the internet, and what is fast becoming a reality is that the consumer has so many devices and wants to consume it wherever they want, whenever they want, how they want it, that we have to get away from talking about the device-centric approach. So it's not TV, it's not cable, it's not satellite, or the internet. Those are just delivery devices. It's really about the content to the consumer and being able to put our message in a manner that's most effective and efficient against the right person. Ironically, and I've quoted this before, that was a quote made in 1958. So you can see how much has changed.
We're moving very quickly. So what are your advertiser clients asking for? And are the media companies talking the same language when it comes to cross-platform?
Well, what clients want and deserve is a better understanding of accountability in all these different devices, no matter how we deliver it. Are the providers talking the same language? Some are, some aren't. Some are being a little more proactive and working with us to help develop approaches to getting more return on investment in this area. Others seem to be digging in their heels. I just think it's going to take time.
Right. And from a measurement standpoint, GroupM and Nielsen announced a partnership a number of months ago. Lyle and his partner Reno really pounced upon our development of cross-platform campaign ratings, which is television and online, PC and tablet combined. The first tangible step of that, I think, is something you guys have done in the upfront around the online component of it. Do you want to just describe a little bit, Lyle, how you're thinking about that and what you're doing in the marketplace with the cross-platform and the online campaign ratings?
Well, what you're referring to is the fact that we're working with several vendors to, in essence, in the upfront, purchasing audience. That audience can be in either on the linear or the non-linear sense, and we're applying information, and hopefully, if we get it correct, we'll have the XCR up and running, where we'll have the full understanding of what is actually delivered to the consumer. Not just served to the computer or served to the over-the-top set-top box, but actually what the consumer is being, what they're viewing.
Right. So the benefit to, can you take us through the sort of benefits to the media companies, firstly, and then secondly, the advertisers of being able to, in effect, take a make good from TV and have a measurement system that's consistent and use that in online?
Well, there's a lot of benefits. First, I hope none of my salesmen are out there because you guys are all black to me. I can't see anybody. So you can be shooting at me right now. The idea is that they'll be able to monetize the majority, if not all, of their impressions that's delivered via alternate services. And from a consumer standpoint, from the advertiser standpoint, we'll be able to understand the true numbers for greater accountability. One of the biggest issues that I've had over the last few years is that in trying to do market mix modeling and doing things like that, the internet actually doesn't show up as strong as I believe it should. And I think the major part of that is the fact that we don't have a very good measurement, and the measurement that we have is in conflict with the other media measurements that we have.
Right. Yeah, so for many years you had television ratings, which were an accepted currency, and in the online environment you had page views, unique users, time spent, all manner of metrics, none of which could be put seamlessly together.
Back X amount of years ago, and some of you guys remember the dawn of cable, one of the advantages that cable had was that it was actually measured in the same manner that broadcast television was. So over the periods of time, we could see how consumers migrate across the different video outlets.
Right.
Unfortunately, the online video doesn't have that advantage. So while we see TV usage going up or down, and this past year going down, we see video usage slightly growing in the internet area. There is no real way, except you can model it, you can create fake numbers moving across, but there's no way to understand if this person is actually moving on the internet. So one of the things we need is to understand, is it the same people, is it different people? Right. And that'll help the money migrate to the most efficient and effective options.
Right, so what Lyle is doing is really bringing in seamless measurement across the two platforms. Lyle, where do you think it'll go, both in this upfront and then heading into next year? How fast do you think we can move down this path to the point where everything is measured in a similar way and it enables you to think seamlessly across different platforms?
Well, a lot is really dependent upon Nielsen. As you say, we're working together, and there are a lot of the parts Nielsen has. I don't necessarily always agree that they're putting them in the same sequence as I would like, but we're working through that. I think that once the networks see the growth in the audience, and monetization of it, they'll actually put more content out there on the internet. And if the content goes, so do the consumers. And I think it's going to find its natural level. But I think we're good 2-3 years off at least.
Right. What's in it for GroupM in moving down this path, aggressively with Nielsen and on behalf of your clients?
Really, what's in it for GroupM is the fact that we take very seriously that we're here to support our clients and provide them the best information, the best knowledge, and provide the best opportunity for them to get their message out in order to either sell their product, change their perception, gain awareness, and for the ability to understand if these things are working or not. Yeah. And unless we get the information in a manner that we have confidence in, any results are spurious at best.
Yeah. You talked about some of the media companies being pretty progressive and forward-thinking in terms of making their propositions cross-platform and embracing the measurement, some not. What about the advertisers? Do you have certain advertisers who are much more aggressive and progressive? And does that vary by vertical, by category of advertisers? Or how do you think about that?
Well, traditionally, we've had clients who were far more aggressive in this area, in areas of the evolution of audience. Interesting, when we talked about the word internet and TV in the same language, I don't think I have a client who hasn't said, how do I get there? When do I get there? And you're not moving fast enough.
Right. And we've talked a lot, together and a little bit today about the TV, the PC, and Betsy mentioned the tablet. That's an area we're investing very heavily in. Let me ask you about the smartphone. Do you think that there's an advertising model on the smartphone, and it's something that you and Reno and your other colleagues are going to have to care about anytime soon?
Well, I think the smartphone, the mobile area is very important. The concern I have there is not just the technical capability of delivering messages via the smartphone. I'm more concerned at this point about the consumer permission. Right. Because just because technology allows us to send messages specifically to people or to the phone or to any place where they're at, doesn't necessarily mean the consumer appreciates it or will respond in a positive manner. I think some of these technologies may step a little bit overboard.
Right. And Lyle, are you seeing any of your international colleagues sort of look at some of the things you're doing and try to borrow some of the know-how or some of the expertise, or are they significantly further behind where we are in the US?
Well, there are some countries that are actually significantly superior to us because of the technologies. For certain countries, internet penetration or wireless penetration is significantly higher than here in the US. So I actually call out to them and learn from them and understand what their nuances are. But we do trade information on what it is that we need to do, how to get there, and we, based upon certain approaches, we actually learn not to make the same mistake, hopefully, that other countries have made, and likewise, they don't make the same mistakes I've made.
Right. I think one of the things that we've learned is just how important the agencies are and just what an important and critical role you guys play. How do you think about where GroupM are at and how fast and how far you're pushing this compared to some of your competitors?
Well, I really don't, no disrespect, I really don't pay attention to where my competitors are pushing or not pushing, because I just have to pay attention to my clients. Right. And notoriously, I just never move quick enough. The truth about research is that we have to follow the consumer. We have to follow the technology. There's no silver bullet that I can come out with a new measurement device before Consumer Electronics Show announces their new tablet, new phone, new eyeglasses that has TV in it.
Yeah. By definition, we're always going to be half a step or a quarter of a step behind, but hopefully not more than that.
Well, we'd like to be a half a step. Yeah. Sometimes I feel like we're more like a football field away, but
full step, yeah. Well, certainly in the last couple of months, I think we've made a lot of progress together, and from a Nielsen perspective, we're very grateful for the partnership, Lyle, and candidly the leadership that you and Reno and others have shown in pushing forward the cross-platform, not only as a general concept and making sure the metrics are useful and are used, firstly. Secondly, in developing them going forward. I think you've been pretty forceful in describing some of the things that you need and your clients need, and you believe that the media companies need as well. And then lastly, in this implementation in the upfront, it's been good to see. So we're just about out of time. Is there anything that we should have discussed that we haven't?
Contracts? No.
All right, well thank you to David and everyone for a couple of minutes. It's been a great pleasure to talk with Lyle and to work with him, and we'll look forward to taking any questions after the session. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.